I got an imaged up hold. I got an imaged up hold. It's easier to get up that way, see? 3-year-olds do it, so that's why I did it that way. All right. Seconds, I gotta get the Cobra seconds. Get the Cobra seconds. Cobra seconds. I'll get the Cobra.
Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding Mountain. And today we're going to talk a bit about cheap protein. Now, there's lots of times where I see people in the comments, if I do a cooking video and I'm cooking steak or I'm cooking chicken breast or something like that, you know, there's always the complaint and you know, it's justified to say, hey, the food prices, right? It's so expensive to eat like a bodybuilder, and it's just impossible, right? I'll never be able to meet my goals because I can't have chicken breast or you know, steak all the time or whatever, right? So the whole point of this video is to show you that it really doesn't have to cost a lot in order for you to purchase great bodybuilding foods. You just have to basically man up. I think honestly it's pretty masculine. I mean, I think when you're cutting masculinity out of, because it's really like a sky blue almost. It's not really,
it's like your shirt.
Yeah, it's not like turquoise or nothing. It's not like nobody think it's feminine. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, just put some protein powder in the basket or something, it'd be good.
The protein fairy.
Yeah, the protein fairy. Hey, hey. See, if you put the basketball in the basket, then it's masculine, right? There you go. Put it in there. No problem. See? There you go. Man's bike. Immediately get a man's bike now. Done. Or woman up and eat that stuff that I recommend with your nose like this and just put it down, and you're going to get bodybuilding gains, in a lot of cases better bodybuilding gains than the standard chicken breast or beef out there, right? So there's a couple recommendations I have here. And you're gonna love it because I walk the walk, right? I'm not telling you to do something that I don't do on my own, because sometimes convenience is king. Sometimes I'm looking for other choices too, because you get sick of the same shit all the time, right? I mean, I'm eating a protein bar right now. I had lobster this morning. My cameraman just took a pretty complete day. I eat, Anthony shits. How does that make sense? You know, and your body does have a certain amount of burden from eating the same foods all the time. So you do want to mix up the profiles of amino acids from time to time anyway. So it is a good thing to switch things up. And somebody in the comments said, hey, sick of chicken or your body rejects chicken? Impossible. I'm like, no, it is possible. I actually got tested. And I actually went to a naturopath and got tested one time to see what foods I was sensitive to and what foods that I wasn't. And guess what? It turned out that chicken breast, egg whites, oatmeal, you know, these standard sort of bodybuilding foods were actually creating a reaction in my system, and I was getting a moderate amount of water retention from it. So I competed in 2 bodybuilding shows within a period of 4 weeks. One was to qualify for the provincials, and 4 weeks before I competed at the show. And the same guy that I lost against in the overall in this show, I beat 4 weeks later by just changing a couple foods. And one of those foods was changing from chicken breast to turkey. Okay? So, absolute fact, there are certain foods that sometimes your body can have too much of, and it can cause water retention or cause you to have more of a bloated feeling, or maybe your digestion isn't as good. So it is good to change things up. Cheap protein sources are as such, and I'm going to start with probably the lowest quality one if you're trying to get in contest shape, but at the same time, it's an extremely cheap source of protein, and that is low-fat cottage cheese. Low-fat cottage cheese, you can get a whole liter container which has about 120 grams of protein, and that's only about $5 to $8. And that you can just throw in a little bit of fruit or whatever and eat it throughout the day. And that used to be a treat that I would have in between my chicken breast meals or my tuna meals or whatever my major meat meals were, right? I would have this low-fat cottage cheese. Now, yes, some people don't do too well with dairy, and I understand that, but I'm just saying if you're in a pinch and you can't eat and you're like, hey, I can't be a bodybuilder, Well, guess what? You can be a bodybuilder with this stuff because the protein still is good for you and you can still recover from your workouts. And I did live off that about 40% of the time. A lot of times when I was competing, I wouldn't be using low-fat cottage cheese for my main contest diet, especially about 4 or 5 weeks out of the show, because you do retain a little bit of water from the lactose and there's some sugar in there. And yeah, dairy does have a tendency to make your body retain a little bit of water. So that said, I did live on that for protein, and it was cheap and easy to make. You throw in a little bit of berries in there and then done, right? You got a meal. It's easy all the time. For those of you who can't cook, this will work. Scared right now, aren't you? No, you're a little scared. You're a little scared. Some people said my eyes are really dark and scary. So yeah, watch out for that. Huh? Eyes of death. Eyes of death right here. Okay, that's enough. Now the next protein source that's pretty cheap is tuna. Cans of tuna, you can get them on sale at Costco or something like that for next to nothing. I mean, not nothing, but you know, pretty cheap. And you get 30 solid grams of protein from that can of tuna. So 5 of those cans a day, if you get them cheap, you can have your entire protein requirement in one day for most people, right? Around 150 grams of protein, 160 grams of protein. And that's a pretty efficient way to get your protein in. But I'm gonna give you some even better choices, all right? I'm gonna give you even some better, cheaper choices than that. Sardines. I know some people are like, they turn their nose up at sardines. Every time I show them sardines, they're like, oh yeah, yuck, you know, I'm not eating that crap, right? Doesn't taste good enough. But my question to you is, do you wanna be a bodybuilder or not? Do you wanna basically put on muscle? Or do you want to always choose your preferences of your tongue based on what you put in your body? So if you can get sardines down, I add a little bit of pickles, a little bit of chives, and I throw that can down, and it's a quick breakfast. It's easy, you don't have to make it. I get them packed in water, and it only costs me $2 a package. That's Canadian. So in the States, maybe $1.50 a can. It's only $2, okay? This only costs $2. Those of you guys bitching and complaining that you can't afford to eat protein, well, you know what? Get rid of those freaking taste buds of yours and eat this shit. $2 a meal, hey? $2. You get about 15 grams of protein, if 17 grams of protein in there. You do 10 of those cans a day. For 20 bucks, you've got like a massive amount of protein, lots of minerals, because you get the bones and the calcium and everything in there, and you get all sorts of other trace minerals and elements in there. And yeah, that could be your entire day for protein. So instead of basically paying $5 or $7 a chicken breast, now you're only paying a couple bucks. So sardines are a really cost efficient and time efficient way to get your protein in, because if you're in a rush, you don't have time to cook, defrost chicken breast or whatever, you just throw a can of protein down and then you're done, right? So that's one staple that's pretty cheap that you can get away with living on as a bodybuilder as a part of your main protein sources. Nice. Impressive. Impressive. Most impressive. Bam! Think? Huh? What do you think? Huh? Do I look good?
Yeah.
Do I look good? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Is it good for the shot?
I am starstruck.
Hey, was that cool? Yeah, that was cool. You think
Fantastic.
They like it? You think they like it? I think they like the shot. I think it's good. I think it was pretty good, huh?
I think you're gonna get like 10 subscribers.
Yeah. No, I think that would be awesome. If I get 10 subscribers, man, I'd be the king, man. It'd be good. Yeah, it's cool. Now, the last recommendation I'm going to give you that a lot of people never consider, because it's not necessarily a normal part of the Western diet, which is a shame, and it should be, because I've had nothing but positive experiences from these meats, and that is organ meat. Organ meat such as liver, heart, kidney, like they have massive amounts of protein and minerals and elements in highly absorbable forms that you rarely get in nutritional supplements. You can get these organ meats so cheap. So for instance, beef heart. Beef heart's packed with protein, coenzyme Q10, and all sorts of other antioxidants and minerals and things that your body needs. When I ate beef heart, I noticed a total bodily relaxation that happened from it. It was like a really neat experience. And at the same time, it's pretty low fat. So it's a perfect bodybuilding food. So if you're looking for something cheaper, beef heart is about 30% of the price of steak or the standard sort of beef muscle meat out there. So definitely look at the alternatives, look at organ meat, because organ meats, a lot of people don't want to eat it because it has a different taste, because it's just so rich in minerals and elements and stuff that people are like, ew, I don't like it. But actually that's the taste of nutrition. That's what it is, right? So if you can eat beef liver and heart along with some of the other organ meats, you may find that you start to not only save a lot of money, but you start to feel a hell of a lot better and save money on purchasing supplements. Now, an alternative to eating organ meats, if you just can't wrap your head around it yet, I mean, you will eventually, because I'm telling you, it tastes pretty damn good. And once you wrap your head around it, you'll thank me. You'll thank me for it, seriously. But if you can't wrap your mind around it now, I really think it would be a good idea for you to experiment by getting some organ meats into your diet. And you can do so through this supplement line called Ancestral Supplements. Now, I'm working in partnership with them now because they were the only company that I've seen that I could get behind, because I believe in what they're doing, because they're not really a supplement line. All they are is a food. So in each bottle, they have a certain organ, whether it's pancreas, whether it's kidney, whether it's liver, whether it's heart, or one that I'm really excited about trying is tracheal cartilage and bone marrow, because these things are supposed to have really powerful healing elements to them, which assist you with getting rid of joint pain along with recovery of joint tissue, right? This supplement line is based on the ancestral thinking, which is when you eat a certain organ, it will heal that certain organ pathway. Such as like in Chinese medicine, there's the kidney channel and the heart channel, all that sort of thing. So based on that type of thinking, there have actually been some experiments which prove that when someone eats heart or they eat liver, those elements from those organs end up in the same corresponding organ in their body. So there is some truth to this ancestral way of thinking. So if you're having some sort of joint issue or digestive issue, there are certain organs which will assist you with healing that area of your body. So it's definitely worth investigating. So if you haven't tried organ meats and you don't want to taste them by buying them fresh, maybe you want to try them in this form, because all you have to do is take a few pills and swallow them down, and then you can see if your body reacts positively to those organ meats. I've experienced some awesome stuff just from eating organ meat itself. So if you haven't, this shit was going up so fast, I thought I was going to put a hole in the ceiling. I've experienced some awesome stuff just from eating organ meat itself. So if you haven't, do so. It's a great way to save money and get your protein in. And hey, you know, who doesn't want to get more protein in and be large like a mountain? I hope this gives you some alternatives. I hope this helps you save a little bit of money. And at the same time, hey, maybe it opens up a new doorway for you to save money and be healthier. Organ meats will help you. If you're eating meat already, then yeah, go nuts. Go eat some organs, man. Not the piano type organ. You don't want to do that. That's definitely going to be detrimental to your health. Don't be eating the piano keys or none of that stuff. That can be detrimental to your health. So thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.